Today I'm going to be reviewing another episode of The Big Bang Theory. This is Season 1, Episode 3. The episode is titled The Fuzzyboots Corollary. I like to look at why the titles are given their names. And for this episode, we see the Fuzzy Boots part comes from later in the episode. Leonard's thinking about getting a cat, and he decides one of the potential names is Sergeant Fuzzy Boots. Now, then I looked up a corollary is a proposition that follows from and is often appended to one already proved. So in this case, Leonard is proposing that by getting a cat, it will help him feel better from the situation that's going on in the episode. So the episode starts out with Leonard, Sheldon, Raj, and Howard in Leonard and Sheldon's apartment. They're playing World of Warcraft, and since they've been playing for a while and they're getting to their final battle, Sheldon turns on the team for his own self-interest, gets a powerful weapon, leaves, and sells it online, and Howard ends up buying it. Everybody's mad at Sheldon for abandoning the team. The interesting thing I find here is that Sheldon didn't do this just for his own um, monetary gain. He did this because it fits into his character. He notes that his character is a rogue knight elf, and it fits into that description. So this is an interesting thing to Sheldon, I think. Here it shows that he's not doing this for money. He's doing it because it's to him it's part of the game. After this, they hear Penny arrive at her apartment. Leonard decides to go talk to her using some mail that he had taken of hers to return as an excuse to have a conversation with her. He gets out there, but she's with another guy, and they're kissing. Leonard's uncomfortable, but he returns the mail, goes back in. This starts him down a path for this episode where he's kind of down on himself because he wants to see himself with Penny, but he's not sure how to get there, and he views this as a failure. He talks to the group, make some suggestions, and Sheldon actually suggests that he try to date his coworker Leslie Winkle. So in the next scene, we see that Leonard's talking to Leslie Winkle, who is played by Sarah Gilbert. These two share some TV history. Sarah Gilbert was, of course, Darlene Connor on the Roseanne Show, and Johnny Galecki, Leonard, played David, her boyfriend, later husband, on that show. So these two have a fair amount of history together. In this scene, Leonard promotes an experiment in which they would date and then see how it goes. Um, Leslie, however, proposes that they skip the whole precursor of a date and just kiss and see how it goes. They do. She tells him kiss was good, but she doesn't have any attraction, so they decide not to go forward with having a date. An interesting thing to note here is that Leonard was much more confident with talking to Leslie than Penny. The reason for this is Leonard views Leslie as kind of being on his level. They're on equal footing, so he thinks, getting a date with her, he can achieve that. He views Penny as being up on another level. He's kind of put her up on this pedestal. He thinks she's too pretty of a girl to go out with him, so he's not sure what to do there. After being rejected by Leslie, Leonard goes back to the apartment. He's upset. Sheldon recognizes that this is like a pattern of Leonard's, that he goes into a downward spiral. Howard suggests he knows a place where Leonard can meet some women, so they go and they end up at a senior dance class. And Howard even notes that he may have been with one of these women before. Um, Howard, it shows again, is a very strange, odd, creepy little man. Leonard doesn't want to be here. It's just a odd scene. Next, we get our title moment for the episode. We get Leonard coming in, carrying a bag of groceries, singing a sad song. He talks to Sheldon, tells him he's thinking about getting a cat, and one name he's considering for it is Sergeant Fuzzy Boots. This is why we get this titled episode, The Fuzzy Boots Corollary. He talks to Sheldon about his frustrations with the situation with Penny, and Sheldon actually helps him out here. He points out that Penny has not yet rejected Leonard. Leonard hasn't asked her out. So Leonard decides to do this. He goes over, talks to Penny. However, he gets nervous, and Penny doesn't understand what he's doing. She thinks he's asking her out to dinner with the group, with Raj, Howard, and Sheldon as well. So Leonard just kind of goes along with this and says, yeah, they'll all go out to eat later. So next we see Leonard talking to Sheldon, getting ready for the date. He's very visibly nervous. He's sweating through his shirt, and it's still hours before the date. He works himself up so much to the point that gives himself a panic attack, and he wants to cancel the date at that point, but decides not to. So he goes to the restaurant with Penny. She's wondering where everybody else is, and he says it's just going to be them. So they start some awkward small talk, her talking about her recent relationship troubles. She tries to ask him about physics, to which he tells her, there's no real updates in that area and haven't been for a long time and likely won't be. He does, however, impress her with a demonstration with an olive. Using physics, he uses centrifugal force to make the olive go into the glass without touching it. He drops it, goes to retrieve it, and clumsy Leonard bangs his head under the table, starts bleeding. So they decide to go back home. When they get back to the apartment, they're saying goodbye, and Penny, a little suspicious at this point, asks Leonard if this was supposed to be a date, and Leonard, again nervous, says no. He goes on about if this was a date, you would know. They go their separate ways, go back to their apartment. The group asks Leonard how the date was, and Leonard is thrilled. He says it went great in his mind. So that is season one, episode three of The Big Bang Theory. This episode really just kind of focuses in on Leonard and Penny for the most part, but for that reason, it's a very important episode in the early part of the series here, as it really pushes forward the whole dynamic between Leonard and Penny. Leonard, as we know, wants to date Penny, but the problem he seems to have is a severe lack of confidence. He's not sure what to do in order to move closer to Penny. We see he's not as nervous when he had talked to Leslie, so it's really just the fact that he views Penny as out of his reach. And he does try to make some strides forward. He finally makes an attempt to ask her out that doesn't go too well. They do go out to dinner technically, although in Penny's eyes this wasn't really a date. But by the end of the episode, Leonard's convinced himself, hey, he's got his foot in the door, and this is a good first step, even though that's only in his mind, as we'll see moving forward. But this is a crucial first step in their relationship. So, um, this was a very important episode to drive that forward. We see the other characters, of course, in the episode, although, as I said, this episode does mostly feature about this growing relationship between Leonard and Penny, and we'll see more in the next few episodes going forward. I would view this as a very good episode. I rate this episode with a score of an 8 out of 10. And I'm really looking forward to the next episode, which is going to be season one, episode 4. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. And keep an eye out for the next video coming soon.